1977. No internet. No streaming. No spoiler alert. Just a line. Wrapped all the way around the block, I should add. A farm boy. A princess. A smuggler. In a galaxy none of us had ever seen before. I mean, this thing was, Star Wars didn't hit the theaters. It detonated our imaginations. You had kids running around with broomsticks pretending they were lightsabers. You had adults forgetting they were adults. The movie business learned something real quick. Myth moves us. Good versus evil, a small rebel group overtaking the powerful. They knew we'd pay, and they knew we'd pay a lot, and we still do. We know what you're doing. But every generation wants a rebellion story. And I got to tell you, in 1977, America needed a rebellion story. America needed to go outside and play. Hey, Teach, do you think we could get recess here anytime? Maybe about 1977. How would that be? Well, it went incredible. I mean, Star Wars, you start with the special effects, groundbreaking special effects. I should have researched some of the guys' names, but there were several men, who made that come true. The score. An operatic score by John Williams. Now, who's John Williams? Well, John Williams is the guy who did the Jaws theme, Jurassic Park, and eventually Schindler's List. But, I mean, it's quite a pedigree for Mr. John Williams, I got to tell you that. And the fact that you get this guy on your first film, and you've already got that cake. The John Williams score is the icing. You put the icing all over that cake because that's some good cake and it's some good icing. Guess what? Everybody's going to have fun at the birthday party. But, as I mentioned, Hollywood did learn very quickly that it could keep popping us. Keep popping us for the cash. Here we go. Pull at our heartstrings. Play some music. Here we go. Where's my wallet? Let me get some popcorn. I don't even care how much I spend tonight. Family's having such a great time. But obviously, Star Wars was groundbreaking. It's almost like the world went into color, right? I mean, you hear a lot of people say those things about, the first time they saw the Beatles, or, I remember watching the Beatles for the first time, and all of a sudden the world was in color. Well, I think for many, many thousands and thousands and millions of people, I think Star Wars was that for them. Star Wars was their Beatles. Star Wars got their, the fans of the Star Wars got their Beatles moment, where they could just, rejoice and enjoy life, just for a minute. And I'd like to think, Star Wars didn't only, entertain us at the box office or become, for many of us, a large part of our lives, the living by the codes and, what Yoda said and all these things. But I'd like to think that Star Wars' impact was even bigger. Because in a galaxy far, far away, I think we all learned a very valuable lesson. We learned to believe again. We were allowed to believe again. We were allowed to have fun for a little while again. And obviously it taught us several valuable life lessons that could be transferred into this world from Star Wars. But, I can say one thing for sure. Spielberg read the manual. Then he added some of his own stuff, and there are people later reading the manual now. Tomorrow, 1978, we're going to talk about a very interesting thing that happened in 1978. I want to say disco, but I've been wrong before. Tomorrow.